Britain has a long and celebrated history of watchmaking, stretching back to Thomas Tompion in the 17th century and George Graham a few decades later. Over the centuries that followed, Britain remained at the forefront of the watchmaking tradition. Places like the Burlington Arcade have long been showcases for British craftsmanship and skill. Yet the watchmaking industry has been in decline since the so-called quartz crisis of the 1970s and 80s, when everyone, including myself, rushed out and bought a Casio watch. Now, however, the industry seems to be going through something of a renaissance. Companies such as Bremont and Dent London are leading the charge. Bremont was founded in 2002 by brothers Nick and Giles English. Taking their lead from their father, a former RAF pilot, the brand has firmly established itself as British, producing, among others, watches designed to tap into Britain's maritime past. Its Victory watch, for example, actually incorporates sections of oak timber and copper from HMS Victory itself. Yet despite the British branding, some of the components of these watches are still made in Switzerland. So what exactly makes these watches British?
For us, I think it's that understated English look. I think you have to be doing a large proportion of that watch in the UK to justify calling it British. And I think as a role you should be investing in the British economy with that watch as well, which is very important to us. We're still very dependent on Switzerland in movement components. There is a complete lack of British talent to choose from. We can't just put an ad in the paper and get a machine worker who's been making pinions for the last 10 years.
But the industry has been here before. Dudley Giles is the chief executive of the British Horological Institute, which was founded in 1848.
This concept of what was a British watch was a very live issue. We were facing mass importation from Switzerland, and particularly we were looking at the threat of mass production. And I don't think we've ever really come to grips with the question of what is a British watch, because it's three elements. It's how it's designed, how it's built, and what are the components or the parts which go into it. And the new debate, I think, is more about its design and its build as opposed to its component parts.
Giles English at Bremont has grander ambitions. He actually wants to bring the watchmaking process back to Britain.
We're kicking off the investment in the UK in a number of different ways. We are investing in the apprenticeship scheme for both watchmakers and training up watchmakers, but also on the engineering level, we're looking at new processes for core manufacturing for components. I think for us, being able to make as much in the UK, it changes a lot. It means we have complete control, we can do just-in-time manufacturing on that, and we can customise, and we aren't constrained by any other manufacturers.
A new generation is being born, but it is happening slowly. The British School of Watchmaking opened its doors in 2006, but since then only 24 students have graduated. It is still not an obvious career choice.
People say that the small number of people going through the school every year is insignificant. It is at the moment in relation to the number of watches being sold and the number of watches being produced by other countries. But from small beginnings, I suppose, acorns turn into oaks. So hopefully that interest that is there now and being shown and being nurtured, that talent, will spread.
To be able to say a watch is made in Britain is becoming increasingly important, particularly in this global marketplace. But the industry is nothing without the next generation. And while plans to bring watchmaking back to these shores are certainly worthy, it remains to be seen for Britain's watchmakers whether it is too little, too late. This is Hugo Greenhalgh for the Financial Times.